I'm Vicki Stewart, Executive Director of Business Resource Network. We're a nonprofit located in Sioux Falls, and our mission is to provide businesses with education, awareness, and resources to promote the successful employment of people with disabilities. Today, I'm at Hyvee with a couple of their employees, and I will let them introduce themselves by saying their name and their job title. So Nick, if you want to start.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm 35. I work at Hyvee. I'm a bagger.
Bagger, all right.
Or courtesy clerk.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Jerry Wharton. I work at Hyvee also. I'm the Human Resources Manager here.
All right, thank you both for being a part of this today.
Thank you.
The first question I have is for you, Jerry. What skills do you look for in an employee?
I would say for the vast majority of folks, it's the soft skills that we look for. It's extremely difficult, if not impossible, to teach, someone to be generally friendly. Hyvee's slogan, helpful smile in every aisle. That's, kind of what we have to work forward to. Obviously we do coaching and everything, but always the most valuable trait for somebody is just to be generally agreeable and friendly when they're coming in for an interview,
Okay, so those technical skills can always be taught, but kind of those soft skills are needed when you apply.
Right.
All right. Nick, what do you think makes you a good employee?
I work hard and I smile.
Well, perfect. You're at the right place, it sounds like. That helpful smile in every aisle. Awesome. And Jerry, what tips do you have for someone who's applying for a job for their very first time?
Oh, sure. I guess my best advice be to just try to relax, as best you can. I know it's always a stressful experience, especially interviewing, for the first time can be scary. Maybe try to go throughout the interview and make it a conversation, a back and forth between yourself and the interviewer, to help yourself kind of break some of the personal tension that you might be experiencing. But being anxious is extremely common in interviews, so there's no reason to feel self-conscious about it. I guess I like it when people are open and honest, when they're experiencing any bad feelings or whatever have you. And
so if you're feeling nervous, it's okay to say that.
That's extremely normal. I like to know, and then I know where, if I can help on that front, I will do that. So.
Okay, wonderful. And Nick, what do you do at your job?
I bag groceries.
Okay, great. All right. And how long have you been at Hyvee?
10 years.
Wow, long time. Have you been in that position the whole time?
Yes.
Okay, great. And how many hours a week do you usually work?
What's up? 3 days a week.
3 days a week at 4 hours?
What's the math on that? Like
about 12 hours a week, probably?
Right.
Okay, great. And Jerry, how would you describe the culture of your workplace? Do you think it's pretty easy for a person with a disability to fit in?
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, our culture is mostly, again, just centered around that helpful smile ideal. We want to make sure every one of our customers has an awesome experience here, and I think we do very well as far as accommodating anybody. I don't think we've hired anyone that has left due to not being able to adapt or cope or um, anything of that nature. We're all pretty nice around here.
Okay.
It always comes down to the attitude of the person, I suppose, that's trying, you know.
Mhm.
If you first come into the job with a good attitude, and it can be, you don't have to be confident. That comes with time, but just being positive, and um, my best advice would be to just not give up, and just put your best and most friendly foot forward, right? So
Okay. Good advice. And Nick, did you tell your boss that you had a disability when you were hired? Do you remember if you brought that up?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay. Were you working with an agency or a job coach or anything when you first got hired?
It was before. It was at Sunshine when I had a job coach, but my
Okay.
mom let him go because he wasn't very good.
Okay. So you kind of got this job on your own then at
Right.
Hyvee.
Well, I think so. I got the beginning.
Yeah, we're going back a long ways. Hard to remember, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. And Jerry, do you prefer that a person does share they have a disability or not?
um, I suppose personally, it doesn't really matter one way or another if somebody shares that with me.
Mhm.
Um, Everybody's different. Everybody has a different perspective and worldview when they're coming in for an interview. Some people love to share personal information. Some people absolutely hate to share personal information. So I don't usually mind one way or the other. Everybody's different. Um, you know, I guess most of the consideration just comes down to, I guess the simple question of, will this person that I'm speaking with give our customer an awesome experience when they're here? And that's about the size of it.
Okay, super. Yeah, we always say sharing whether you have a disability is a very personal decision for the person applying for the job. And if they feel comfortable doing that or maybe need an accommodation, they might need to disclose they have a disability. But other times they're not comfortable sharing something that personal. So it is definitely up to the individual.
Absolutely.
Nick, did you need any help on the job to do your work?
No. No.
Nope. All right. And Jerry, what accommodations or special arrangements have you provided? Maybe not for Nick in particular, but other employees with disabilities? Have you had to maybe change a person's schedule because they use the bus or any other accommodations?
Oh, certainly. Yeah. It's been a while. There are a great many people that we have done things like that for. Um, I mean, like I said earlier, and you said, each person or situation is completely unique. So we kind of just roll with punches. If somebody needs a different schedule arrangement, we'll work with that. If somebody needs transportation arrangement, we'll work with that. Um, you know, the only thing that we kind of look at is, is it going to be extremely detrimental to the store, like, or impossible. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, we've worked around. I couldn't even list them. So we're generally really good about that stuff.
And would you say generally those accommodations, do they cost anything?
Sometimes, yeah, and that's just fine. That's what we need to do to get the best people for the job in here. Then that's what we're gonna do.
Great attitude. I appreciate that. Nick, did you need any help doing the job when you very first started working, like in the training process at all? Did you need any extra help or a job coach?
Um, I have a job coach. At, I did when I worked at the other grocery store,
Okay.
but I was at the other grocery store for a while until I transformed to this store.
And did you do a lot of the same tasks there as you
Yeah,
did at Hyvee? So that probably helped with the training. You kind of knew what you were doing already, I bet.
yeah.
Okay, sounds good. And Jerry, is training for employees with disabilities any different than employees who might not have a disability?
I mean, every once in a while, yes. I mean, for the vast majority of situations, we generally use the same training processes that we use for everybody else, and everything works out just fine. Um, I mean, if somebody notifies me that they're having a hard time, or they're not doing as well, we'll either give them some extra time in training, or give them an extra helping hand, or maybe a different trainer, or myself personally, or whatever it is that is necessary for the person to learn and be comfortable with their position. um, you know, Coaching support even. Yeah, we work with like the school district a lot of times, and um, for some of those, what they call them, employment consultants, right? That come in and help us. So absolutely.
Okay, great. So it just kind of depends on the person, and I'm sure communication is really important. If
100%. Yeah,
yeah,
case by case basis.
okay, perfect. And Nick, what is your favorite thing about your job at Hy-Vee?
I guess working hard.
Working at Hy-Vee?
Yeah, working hard.
Working hard. Oh, good. Yeah, it gives you a good feeling to know that you've done a good job and worked hard and did your best. That's great. Well, I've seen you working there, and I know you always do a good job, and you always have that smile on your face. So that's awesome. And Jerry, what expectations do you have for all of your employees, really? I know you've talked about the attitude. Anything else?
um, Goodness. I mean, that's the most important. Obviously, we expect everyone to be respectful, and keep everyone else in mind. Uh, our overall culture is, yeah, just that friendly um, atmosphere, and we try to make it as a family. Everybody can tell anybody anything, type of stuff. Open door policies. So, I mean, everything just again revolves around you know providing Hy-Vee customers the very best experience available, and most people do that naturally from their hire date until either they move on or get another position, or whatever. But being friendly and being helpful are the two things that go the distance to make sure that happens. you know uh, I know I already shared, being open and honest with managers about how you're doing and anything that you need to be successful. That's what we want, and that's the other piece of the puzzle. So if there's any extra training, or things that you don't know that you might need to know, all you have to do is communicate, reach out, and we'll help you with anything. So
Okay, great. Well, that's all the questions that I have. Do either of you have any comments that you want to share before we close? All
sure,
right.
yeah, I take many customer compliments about Nick. He's down there smiling, doing the best he can every day, and it's a wonderful thing. He's always here, reliable man, and happy to have him on our team.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
I'll
Well,
give you. Thank you.
right. Thank you so much, both of you, for being with us today. And we appreciate all you do, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Today, we're with some employees at Avera, and I will go ahead and let them introduce themselves, state their name and their job title. Abby, would you like to start?
Sure. I'm Abby Benz, and I'm a case pull tech.
Okay, great.
And I'm Amber Tolley, and I am Abby's supervisor for materials management.
Thank you, and thank you for being with us today. The first question is for you, Amber. What skills do you look for in a good employee?
So most of my employees need to have a good work ethic. They need to be polite. We do prefer a good attitude. We can train for skills, but if they have a good attitude, it's really good. And then memory. Our department relies a lot on memorizing where things are located at, so that we can get the product to the patients quickly.
Okay, great. So some of those soft skills are probably more important than some of the technical skills because you can always train on
Yes.
those technical skills, right?
Most definitely.
Okay. And Abby, what do you think makes you a good employee?
I'm on time, I work hard, and I help people out when they need help.
Great. All good aspects to have. Amber, what tips do you have for someone who's working at their first job?
Maybe get to know your company. Learn the task. Ask questions. Do not be afraid. Yep. To ask those questions. And I would definitely make sure that the job that you are, if you're applying for it, just make sure that it's the job that you're looking for. If it's the right employer, you want to make sure you're a good fit for that company.
Yeah, that's very important. And I think, like you said, asking questions, we're all a little afraid when we start a new job. And if you don't ask the questions, then you don't learn. So I think that communication is a really important aspect. Abby, what do you do at your job?
I pull instruments for cases for surgery, and I take an exchange card up on the hour, every hour.
Wow, great. How long have you been in this position?
8 years.
Oh, a long time. Congratulations. That's
Thank
great.
you.
About how many hours a week do you work?
40.
40, so you're full-time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you start out full-time?
Yes.
Okay, great. And Amber, how would you describe the culture of your workplace? Do you think it's easy or difficult for somebody with a disability to fit in?
Here at Avera, I think the culture is very accepting of lots of different disabilities and people. I think it's pretty easy to fit in around here. Yeah.
Okay, great. And Abby, did you tell your supervisor you had a disability before you were hired?
I was part of a program called Project Church, but they already knew.
Okay, great. So you didn't have to really make that decision. They already knew
Yeah.
that you had a disability. Okay, great. Amber, do you prefer that a coworker or somebody you supervise would share that they have a disability, or
No.
doesn't it really matter?
No, actually, we would prefer that they not to share that. That's just, yeah, during the interview process, we don't want to know that type of stuff. As long as that person can fulfill their job description, their disability isn't really a factor. So.
Okay, great. And we always tell people that it's a very personal decision if you have a disability, whether you want to share that or not. And of course, some disabilities are visible, so you know just by looking at a person that they might have a disability, while others you would never know. So yeah, very personal decision for people. And Abby, did you need any help on the job to do your work?
You mean when I first started?
Yeah.
Yeah, training and stuff, when to find stuff.
Okay, just kind of learning your way
Just
around.
kind of learning the way around, yeah.
Okay, great. And Amber, what accommodations have you provided to some of your employees with disabilities? Has there needed to be any extra training or flexible schedules, those kind of things?
We've been pretty lucky. Abby has been our only employee with a disability, and she caught on really well. But Avera does have a few different options for, job coaching and whatnot. So we would make accommodations if we needed it to happen.
Okay, super. And so currently, Abby, do you need any accommodations? You might have needed a few in the beginning, you said, but you don't really use any now then?
No.
Okay, great. And Amber, is training for employees with disabilities any different really than training for other employees?
No, not really. I haven't had, like I said, I haven't had anybody but Abby, and most training it's done the same way. And so Abby's been a wonderful asset. She's she didn't need a whole lot of extra training to do her job. So
Okay, super.
yeah.
And Abby, did you work in that department when you were in Project Search?
Yes.
Okay, so you had a little experience before you started as a full-time employee.
Yeah.
Great. What is your favorite thing about your job?
Working with great people every day.
Okay, you like your coworkers, huh?
Uh-huh.
Great. That's important. And Amber, what expectations do you have of all your employees, really?
So the expectations that we request is that they come to work on time, they do their job well, and they follow the rules of the department.
Okay, very important. Great. Well, you guys both did a great job today. Thank you so much for being with us. And good luck as you continue to work for Avera.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Lucas Dannenbring. I'm the general manager here at the Home 2 Suites by Hilton.
Hi, I'm Tommy Morrison. I work at Home 2 Suites, and I am an intern here.
All right, thank you both. I will go ahead and start with you, Lucas. What skills do you look for in an employee?
You know, I mean, one of the main things is just to be teachable, to come in and to want to learn a job and be willing to work. That's obviously one of the most important things. I think that's sometimes a lost art right now, is finding employees that want to come in and learn and do a job.
All right, what type of skills are more important to you? The technical skills or the soft skills?
By far the soft skills. When it comes to technical skills, we can teach those. Sometimes I'd rather have somebody with a clean slate, knowing that they don't have any bad habits. But more important, I mean, just having that willingness to want to learn and be excited to come to work. Those things go a long ways.
So attitude is really important.
Definitely.
All right, thanks. Now, Tommy, what do you think makes you a good employee?
Just staying positive, showing up to work on time, and staying focused.
Great, sounds good. Lucas, what tips do you have for someone who is applying for a job for their first time?
Kind of like I said, you know what, if you're applying for your job your first time, sometime, you know what, you're not going to have a resume. You're not going to have jobs listed. But at the same time, if you're willing to say, hey, you know what, I understand that, the importance of showing up to work and being reliable, and I'm willing to learn anything, that to me is something that if you don't have that background to go off of, I'm excited to see people that have that type of an attitude.
Wonderful. Tommy, what do you do at your job here?
Right now, I am training for housekeeping, which is really exciting for me. I help clean the rooms and prepare the rooms for the next guest.
So you have to make the beds and fold towels and those kind of things?
Yes.
Okay, great. How long have you been at your job?
I've been here for 3 months.
Great.
And I've been working for 24.
Okay, great. And how many hours a week do you usually work?
24.
24.
Yes.
Okay, is that every week?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And now, Lucas, how would you describe the culture of your workplace?
Culture, I think, to me, it's something, you really focus on. We want to have a place where it's people, a job's a job, work is work. But at the same time, you got to make it more about that. You got to get everybody on the same page, kind of working towards a common goal. And part of that means, getting everybody to show up and to do the things that they're supposed to do every day. But at the same time, it can't be just about the job and the tasks. We have a huddle every morning and we try to talk about the tasks that need to be done and share the feedback about what our guests are saying about us and try to do different things, whether it's an all-employee meal once a month where we get our staff together and just kind of share our accomplishments and blow off some steam and do different things like that. Those are all things that I think are important when it comes to culture.
So it's not just about work, you can have a little fun too, right?
Yeah, you got to have that fine balance.
All right. Do you think it's pretty easy for a person with a disability to fit into the culture here?
I do. I mean, every place is different, but I think the nice thing about here is that, we're attached to the hospital and we see all kinds of different things and we just want to have people that, are willing to be here and want to be here and to provide great service to our guests and anything else, we're not going to focus on those things.
All right, great. Tommy, did you tell your boss that you had a disability before you were hired?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not tell him that I had a disability.
You probably just didn't think that was really necessary?
Not really. I mean, just something that I don't really share with people.
Yep, that's a pretty personal thing. And some people don't want to disclose that when they're interviewing for a job. So
Right.
that's all up to you, that's for sure. And Lucas, do you prefer a person share he or she has a disability, or why not?
I mean, each scenario is different. The thing that I've learned is that, we're working right now with the Teach Well program, and I didn't have a lot of experience, working with people with disabilities before that. So sometimes, at least if you know ahead of time, it helps you manage people. And that's not even just people with disabilities, but the more you know about people, the more you know what makes them click, how they're going to learn things. It's helpful, because in that way you're like, oh, that makes sense. And you know what, we got to do this approach versus that approach. And I think if we do this, that will work a lot better, type of a thing.
Makes sense. Tommy, do you need any help on the job to do your work?
I do not need any help. Like I said before, I am in the process of in training, so I kind of that's kind of like I need help with that a little bit.
Sure, just kind of learning your job tasks and how to do them the right way.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Do any of your coworkers, do you notice that they need help at all on the job?
Not really. They kind of know what they're doing and what they need to be doing. So they don't need help with anything.
Okay, great. Sounds like they do a great job of training here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Lucas, what accommodations or special arrangements have you provided for employees with disabilities?
It's kind of what you just talked about there, the training aspect of it. Any employee that we bring in here, there's always jobs where we just like, hey, we need to get this done and let's get them going. And whether it's a housekeeper, sometimes we just put them in the rooms right away and get them cleaning. But the more I've learned is the more time you spend with them explaining things and showing things, then they understand why they're doing it versus just doing it. And I think sometimes maybe if someone has a disability, and if you know that, you have more patience and you have more understanding. And I'm 100% fine knowing that, because if you put more time into somebody and they're a long-term employee, I'd much rather do that than go through, 5 or 10 employees that we're just rushing through and putting out there.
All right, great. Tommy, did you need any help doing the job when you very first started working?
Yes. I kind of just with getting myself settled and just kind of get my foot in the door a little bit. There was some things that I did need help with at first, but once I got going, after that I didn't really need any help.
Okay, great. And you weren't afraid to ask for that help when you needed it, right?
No, I wasn't. If I needed help, I would go find someone, or let someone know that I get help with this or whatever.
Sure. Were you a little nervous when you first started working?
A little bit, but it wasn't so bad.
Okay, great. And Lucas, is training for employees with disabilities any different really than people without disabilities?
No, I mean, you're teaching them the same skills. I mean, obviously that's the most important thing, but I mean, as far as how you present them, and maybe sometimes the time, presenting them, it might be a little bit different from that standpoint. But obviously any employee that comes through here, you want to make sure you're giving them the same scope and getting them to understand what needs to get done.
And have you worked like with a job coach?
Yeah, we
before?
have. I mean, we worked with the Teach Well organization, which, like I've said, it's very valuable. I don't have a background. I don't know sometimes the ins and outs on certain things, and the more understanding I think that I get on it, then I'm like, the more helpful it is, and it's more confident in what my thought processes and decisions as far as managing those employees. Because sometimes you're going into it blind, and you're like, oh, I don't want to do anything wrong. I don't want to make and then you overthink things versus, if you have somebody, a resource, I think, to kind of go to that might know more about that, it works very well from that standpoint.
Yeah, so it's kind of extra support for the employer.
Yep, exactly.
When those agencies are involved.
Yep, it's very helpful.
Okay, great. And Tommy, what's the favorite thing about your job?
My favorite thing right now is being trained to be a housekeeper. I was very excited to actually get started and working, being trained to help with with housekeepers and everything, and that's my favorite thing right now, is just being able to get trained and helping out with other people.
Okay, great. Is this your very first job?
I've worked other places.
Okay, but you just started here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And Lucas, what expectations do you have for your employees?
Anytime we hire somebody, I mean, it sounds so simple, but when we have our huddles and a new employee comes in, I usually, we tell everybody, what does this employee need to do in order to be successful? And number one, it's show up. It's amazing in this day and age, there's a lot of people that find numerous reasons to not come to work, versus, just being here. We all have our rough days. We all have things going on in our lives, but I think a job needs to be a priority. So I always say, show up, care about what you're doing. Don't just be here and go through the motions. You have to care about what you're doing. And the last thing, just do your job. Because if we have a whole group of people every day that show up, care about what they're doing, and do their job, this isn't work. It's kind of a well-oiled machine at that point. Our bad days are when one of those three things don't happen.
Right. Great advice. I hear that a lot from employers, that it's really tough to get people to actually show up. But like you say, if you care about your job, you will show up. And I think that's another important point for employees to remember, that you do want to get into a job that you enjoy, so that it's not work, that it's something you look forward to going to and being a part of. So I think that's good advice for everyone. Any last words from either of you?
No, I appreciate just, the time talking about this experience. And like I said, I mean, we have not hired a lot of people with disabilities in the past, but I've learned so much about this. And I'm really excited about, I think, some of the future potential that we have, looking into this job force and seeing what opportunities we have that make sense for those that are looking for jobs.
Well, we thank you for being open to that. It's great. You're doing great things. Tommy, anything you want to close with?
I don't have anything.
Okay, well, you did a great job, and I really appreciate both of you being involved in the interview today. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.